same time, the three bears were coming back. And when they came back, they saw that they said in a big chorus, the first one said, "Who's been eating my porridge?" And then the second one, "Who's been eating my porridge?" And then the little one, who said in a very light voice, "Who's been eating my porridge?" And they're eating it all up.
Hello, are you Paul by any chance? Hello Paul, I'm Steve. I used to go to school here a long time ago. It was from 78 to 85 and I was in Maxwell. They still have the same houses? Yeah. Been going here, yeah? This is where I did my first ever concert performance. Wow. And it hasn't changed at all. And it was a school disco, 1980, and I was so nervous I couldn't stand up because my legs were shaking so much. So I just sat here on the side of the stage and played my guitar. I sat right here, shaking like a leaf, and I had a microphone. I had to sing as well, and I couldn't stand to look at anyone, so I was like looking down all the time. I was very bad at sport, as you can imagine. You're either good at music or you're good at sport. I've never known anyone good at both.
Una vez un niño estaba enfermo, su mamá estaba triste y a los pocos días fueron al hospital y le dijo al doctor que tenía mal el corazón. A los 15 días murió. Su mamá lloraba y gritaba, "Ha muerto mi hijo", le decía a todo el vecindario para que la consolaran. Y entonces fue con el doctor y le dijo, "Mi hijo ha muerto". El doctor se puso triste aunque no fuera su hijo y fue una vida infeliz.
All right.
So just take one with your left hand, any one you like,
Okay.
you know, wherever you feel like going.
And turn it over.
Yeah. Well, that's very much about where you are right now. A sense of adventure. Moving into the unknown. Do you see anything?
Coloured rainbow type
Yeah.
spectrum of light.
Yeah. Rainbow. All the colours of the rainbow. A sense of abundance coming to you. It's positive. You know, what anyone would like to head towards a rainbow.
בקרוב הוא מוציא את אלבום הסולו הראשון שלו, קבלו את סטיבן ווילסון! How are you?
I'm good, man. It's Israel. I'm always good in Israel.
You had a cameraman before with you.
Yeah, he's here somewhere.
We're making a documentary about
About
me.
you.
Well, it's about me, very loosely about me. It's more about what it's like to be a musician in the 21st century, and of course Israel being my second home, I definitely wanted to come here and do some filming.
If Israel is your second home, why can't you speak Hebrew?
Certainly in my day, if you were going to enjoy school, you had to be kind of good at sports, and I was good at music. Music was more of a kind of a solitary thing, you know. I mean, you go home and you'd listen to music and you'd learn to play your instrument and you'd try to write songs, while the kids were out sort of playing football and skateboarding and stuff. So being into sports was a more social thing. And I had a few very good friends that were into music too, that I formed my first band with. You know, the band I played with in the main assembly hall there the first time was a heavy metal band called Paradox. It wasn't a particularly encouraging place for me. You know, a few good teachers and a few friends, and I couldn't wait to get away from it. I don't want to give you an idea that it was miserable. It wasn't a miserable experience, but it was just kind of dull. You know, it's not the most dynamic, probably, school. This is the dining room. Ah, we own to the Kant. Is that sort of code or something? These are things that my dad made for me. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford to buy a lot of gear. We're talking about the sort of 80s here. I wanted to get sounds that I was hearing on the records I was listening to. I would say to my dad, I want to get that sound, Dad, and I would sort of play him a record by Beatles or Tangerine Dream or something like that. And he would go off and he would build these things for me. And this is, he built me like a sequencer, he built me a delay, a tape delay machine. And this is actually a vocoder, and it still works. Quite recently I've used it.
The vocoder I actually got out of a magazine. That was one of these sort of practical electronics or something other, and I just happened to see it, and I thought, oh, I've always sort of liked the idea of a vocoder. I'll go building one.
This actually is a little multi-track cassette machine. Now, when I started to make music, these things called portable Porta Studios had just come out. They were little cassette-based machines that you could multi-track record on. In other words, you could overdub yourself playing different instruments and then mix. I really wanted one of these, and obviously I couldn't afford it. I was like 12 years old or something, and my dad said, never mind about that, I'll make you one. And he did. On the multi-track, little 4-track, you put a pitch control.
Oh yes, so I did, yes.
A really extreme one. I mean, you might get one that subtly allows you to, but yours was really extreme.
Right.
So I could use that while I was recording sounds to create really weird effects.
Yes, I did. I didn't remember doing that.
And also the other thing you probably remember is that this doesn't have any erase head.
Oh no, that's right. No, you had to use pre-blank tapes, didn't you? Yeah.
So I had to basically, because it doesn't have any erase head, anything I recorded, if I got it wrong, I couldn't erase it.
No.
I had to start again. Or I could go over it again,
Yes.
but you would still hear the thing underneath too.
Yes. Yeah.
The gym. I didn't spend any time in there, don't worry. In fact, I don't think I've ever been in that room. 5 years, 7 years I was here. Oh, blimey, look at that. I've got the lyrics written out by my friend Malcolm. Now, Malcolm was the guy that I originally dreamt up the ridiculous concept for Porcupine Tree with, and he wasn't a musician, kind of inspiring me to make this kind of music. So here we got his lyrics to a song called Towel, which I think in the end was an instrumental, and that's his speech from Yellow Hedgerow Dreamscape. Open your heart to the universe. It was kind of cosmic psychobabble. It was kind of pastiching, kind of 60s, 70s, cosmic hippie sort of approach to doing things. And that's dated January the 4th, 1989. Here we are, almost 20 years ago.
Look at this. This is the original SWHQ here.
Oh, wow.
See, obviously set up for bass communion and stereo.
It's brilliant.
It is.
Foghorn station.
But look, it's got these giant things. It's obviously using pressurised air to get out the notes. It's fantastic. And then I got a shot of an in-between one as well. Postcard fairs. No,
That's the best, isn't
beautifully
it?
strange, isn't it?
That is strange, beautiful, you're right. Strange, beautiful we like, but we also like decay.
Nuclear is just a blip in history, really. Hey look, here comes the train.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because people ask me quite a lot why are there trains so much in my songs, and there's a lot of references to trains and specifically decay and a kind of nostalgic view of trains. I grew up not right next to a station but quite near to a station, and now I have this kind of association of sound and feeling when I hear the sound of a train, particularly the sound of a train pulling into a station. And it's almost like that kind of Proustian thing where a certain event, trivial or otherwise, triggers off a whole kind of series of memories, feelings, smells, sights, sounds. And it all comes from just lying in bed when I was very young, hearing the sound of these trains kind of hissing in and out of the station. But definitely the association with trains has always been a slightly nostalgic one for me, because I've not really used trains since I was a kid, you know. I'm very lazy, and I'm very happy just to get into my car and drive off, and I'll never get on a train unless I absolutely have to. So trains are kind of somehow preserved in aspect for me, and as a particular part of my childhood. It's interesting, growing up in a small town, I think maybe does give you more of a sense of wanderlust and a passion and a curiosity for discovering, you know, well, there must be more, you know, there must be more out there. No, I'm going to walk. I'm living just nearby. I haven't decided which song yet. Yeah, it's rock and roll, man. We just make it up as we go along. It's rock and roll. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the UK, Stephen Wilson.
I need a quick lesson, mate.
Love.
I can't get excited by an age where all music is just like a piece of software that you download into a little thing like that, and then I can't. Yeah, but I can't get excited about the you know. I still love to collect I'll just still have to buy albums and stuff, you know, and see artwork and collect and file, you know, alphabetically, chronologically.
Redemption song.
Okay, all right.
I love this man. You see, this guy.
The duck is.
He's my Schindler List of
Why
me.
don't we just change
he took
our name
an
to the
Israeli
Duckies?
musician and took me out from Israel, like Schindler List, you know, the film. Yeah.
I'm the Oscar Schindler.
Yeah. So you want like a breakfast? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go and.
Okay.
Here in Tel Aviv, and as you can see, the bombers and the terrorists all around us. I think a lot of people are terrified about the political situation here, but I've been here maybe 50, 60 times over the last 7 years now. And you don't see any iPods here as well, it's fantastic. If you actually go into Tel Aviv, you don't see people with iPods. It's almost like they can't be bothered with iPods. They'd much rather hear live music or listen to music at home. And that's so refreshing. Israelis are very interactive people. It's not like they walk around, avoiding eye contact like they do in other cities in the world. They're always out to make friends and communicate and meet new people. Stars in the country, summer in her. I'm not as closed and self-conscious as I used to be, I think. It's the one place that's changed me more than anything else. In a good way, I think. I'm much more relaxed on stage as well than I used to be. I used to spend the whole show staring at my shoes, But now I'm much more relaxed on stage. I'm much more relaxed as a musician. I'm much more relaxed as a person about my life and not so kind of stressed out about where have I got to, where am I going, what am I looking for in life, all this stuff that I think you're obsessed with when you're like 20, 25, 30. The first time I came to Israel, I was in my very early 30s, and maybe I began to change at that time anyway, but Israel really kind of helped to change the way I thought about what was important in life, The most important thing for me, well, there's two important things. One of them is to feel like you've left something behind of some kind of legacy behind of some importance and significance. I'm talking about, I'm talking about the work now.
Right, I'm waiting to hear the second thing, if you don't mind. I'm intrigued. One is legacy.
And the other is, can we interview you as well?
Where are you from?
From London.
Yeah. What are you, a musician?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Steve Wilson.
What kind of music do you make?
Weird shit. listening to it. Wow. Whoa, whoa. Do you really think you need to put that in the lyrics?
Well, you know, some people, they
This song seems to be called Cheese. I like that. Cheese.
Just because he has the word cheese on it.
No, I think it's called Cheer, actually. But the way it's written, it looks like it could be Cheese, which I think is a better typo. Yeah. How do you, if you're a record company, how do you sell the same album to the same person 4 times? You sell the vinyl, you sell the CD, you sell the remastered CD, and now the definitive version, the Japanese LP replica. No, it's crap. And again, mate, sorry. The Fairy Symphony. How prog is that? Can you imagine anything more prog than an album called The Fairy Symphony? It's got to be good, right? Oh, yes. Been looking for that one. It's hard to find now, that one. Caravan in the Land of Grey and Pink. It's hard to find this one in this format.
Style.
I have a good one.
Oh, very good. I have that too.
This one, it's a good record. I like this.
It sounds like a fairy tale.
It's a very strange record.
I like it.
No, I like it a lot. It's got Mike Oldfield on it.
I think I have another one with him. That's also
Fine Old Tom. This has Mike Oldfield on it. He's not credited. I love these Japanese.
That's not with Sandy Danny.
No, but it's a great record.
It's okay.
Sloth, this is an amazing track. Sloth, yeah. These days, a cover representation of a music has been reduced to just a piece of paper in a crystal case, isn't it? I mean, a vinyl cover was something really tangible and aesthetic. You could actually hold it in your hands, you could feel the texture. It was like a painting, it was the size of a painting. To me, the cover's part of the piece. You know, the music on the CD or the record or whatever it is part of the presentation, and the other part of the presentation is the artwork. I've never really considered the two to be separate. I've never understood why some musicians are happy to make a great record and then put it in a sort of functional piece of shit sleeve, you know, like the Bends or OK Computer. Great records, shit sleeves. Such a disappointment. And visually, so many artists just don't seem to give a shit about the way their art's presented. I've never understood that. You know, I grew up in a time when it was all vinyl. And you know, when you were listening to the records, you were kind of, you were reading the credits, you were kind of feeling the texture of the paper and the card, and you were kind of just, you know, holding the thing. It was pouring over it, you know, absorbing everything you could. And CDs kind of did away with all that. CDs kind of reduced music to the level of software instead of art. And I think that's the problem. And to be fair, CDs have got a lot better. You know, for 10 years or so, they were just so functional. And I think now there's a kind of trend back towards, a movement back towards packaging and a more visual aesthetic with the way music is presented. I think partly because people are beginning to realise that unless you give people something nice visually, they're just going to download it. There's no reason to buy a CD unless you give them something that they really feel they want to own. Yeah, what next? Now, of course, you've got many people who are listening to music and their visual companion to that is a little icon on an iPod screen.
It's really a heavy hammer. Yeah, tell me about it.
if you're into really great sounding records and listening to them from vinyl, you know, if you were to get yourself a really good stereo and a deck and the whole bit, and listen to, say, you know, really good pressings of stuff like Year of the Cat by Al Stewart, or, you know, beautifully engineered by the Alan Parsons guy. It's absolutely wonderful. And, you know, pretty much any Pink Floyd album, you know, any Queen record, they sound terrific. Then play the MP3 through the same system straight afterwards, and you get the shot of your life. You'll realise what you've been listening to.
I totally agree. Isn't part of the problem now that there's a whole generation of kids growing up thinking that MP3s is how music is supposed to sound?
Yeah.
And they'll never get the opportunity to hear the alternative.
Well, they do in a funny sort of way, because maybe that's, you know, live sound's definitely getting better. And people like to go to live shows because the sound's big and exciting.
God is fashion, God is fame, God gives meaning, God gives pain. You can be right like me, with God in all your righteous soul. Hey, around me, hey, around me. And I'm not saying much you, 'cause I've seen the light and we're getting in right now. Hey, around me, hey, around me. 'Cause I got
actually prefers the music they get through their headphones to the sound produced on CD and vinyl. The theory from Stanford University in California has outraged music purists, including the British Grammy-nominated musician Stephen Wilson. Such is his fury that he's captured his violent loathing of MP3 players on camera. Stephen is with me to explain why. Why do you think the old iPod is the devil's plaything?
Well, there's three basic issues for me. The first reason is the quality is very poor. For me, it's like the equivalent of looking at a photocopy of a beautiful painting. It's a very compressed, convenient way of listening to something that actually should be listened to at the highest possible level. It's a piece of art, after all. Gospel Oak. Oh, it's a good cover, though.
Yeah, but it's not. That's why I bought it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Shit.
This is now my favorite record, one of my favorites of all time.
It's a great record. Can you sing us a song, Suze?
Which song? Again?
No, sing your Tokyo Hotel song.
No.
Why?
It's embarrassing. Because I don't even like Tokyo Hotel.
Yes, you do. You love that song.
No, I don't.
And you think the singer's super hot.
Well...
There are some albums where, I mean, like that one we just looked at, I forget what it was now, where the cover's great, but the record's shit. That one, I love this cover.
Yeah.
It's got, all his covers have got that, like the Spring cover and the Black Sabbath, and the second Dando Shaft album. Do you have that one? That one. I love that one. The burnt out merry-go-round. Yeah.
And then this one he did.
Yeah. He's a genius.
Yeah, but where is he? If you're in a metal or like a death metal band, like for, you know, parts of us are still death metal.
Yeah.
You're in a way, your taste is kind of limited to dark type of pictures.
Yeah, dark. Yeah, but why are so many metal covers so extraordinarily cliched and tasteless?
Because that's what the audience wants.
Because the music.
Is it that? Is it the audience driving?
Usually, if you hear a band that you like musically, usually they have a kind of design for their albums that you like too. You know, at least that's the case for me.
Well, normally I would say that's true, but with metal bands, it's hardly ever true.
No, because there's not many good metal bands.
It's the fun.
Yeah, which is such a cliche. Now, is it because that's what their audience want, or is it just because they haven't got any other ideas?
I think we don't do any. You know, our pictures, they're the same. We just do like bumps, because I can, you know, like for photo sessions, when I don't know what type of photos a metal band should have, but what I see is like this.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Every Metal Hammer cut, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the cliche,
you know, and I can't do that.
Yeah.
I've done a few, and I just see, like, and I see those because I see in my eyes, I'm suffering. I just did a photo session with Angela from Arch Enemy for the cover of a magazine, and she went with I was standing with a sword, like this.
Oh, that one's going framed on my wall.
And it was like almost like from the bad news.
Yeah, Warriors.
You got to look mean. That's what I felt like.
When you come from a place like Hemel Hempstead, you're always looking for those little inspirations, you know, whether it's just going down to the local library and finding in the music section a Frank Zappa album or something like that. And in a way, I kind of feel sorry for kids now because they have so many more advantages and it's so much easier for them. It's like, for me, discovering a Frank Zappa or a Pink Floyd record in the local library was a kind of epiphanal moment. You had to really work for it, and you had to, if you wanted to hear music, you had to decide. I mean, I can only afford to buy one record every month, you know, with my pocket money. So you go down to Our Price Records, as it was then, in Marlowe's, and you'd look through the records and you had to make a really big decision about which music am I going to invest my time and my money and my energy in this time. And then when you bought that record and you took it home, you devoured it for days and days and days, and you decoded it and you tried to find anything you could from it that would inspire you. And of course now, because kids can just download not just a record by an artist, but the entire back catalogue by an artist in a few seconds, they can dismiss it just as easily. So if you know, a kid hears now about Pink Floyd and he wants to check them out, or the Beatles, he wants to check them out, he goes to the internet, he downloads everything, doesn't cost him a penny, takes him a few minutes, can listen to a few tracks. If it doesn't sort of connect immediately, erase.
Erase, 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 erase.
Well, so he knocks me out. He gives me that. I don't know. They don't do it anymore. They used to do like this gas thing. Nowadays it's all like local anesthetic, but in those days it was gas. It would knock you out. You'd wake up, and the dentist would have finished whatever he was going to do, rip your teeth out, whatever it was. So anyway, in this dream, I'm at the dentist, and I wake up from this. Instead of removing my tooth, he like hands me my head, and it's in this kind of glass goldfish bowl. And I take it from him and I put it under my arm. And so I'm carrying my head under my arm, and I'm walking out of the dentist's surgery. And the dentist and the dental nurse are like standing at the top of the steps, smiling and waving. It's like something out of fucking Little House on the Prairie or something. And as I'm walking down the steps with my head, I like trip over and I fall down the steps, and my head rolls down the steps, and it rolls across the road, and on the other side of the road there's like this field of corn, and my head rolls into this field of corn and out of sight, and I'm crawling across the road on my hands and knees, and I'm crawling into this cornfield, searching with my hands to try and find this. I'm dreaming in reverse.